They told us democracy was sacred. They forgot to mention it's a miracle it works at all. Or rather, it doesn't. Not as we think it does. Not as we want it to. Welcome to 277 Broadcast, where myths get dismembered and good intentions go to die with style. This episode is about democracy. Not as a constitution, not as a civic ritual, but as a delusion, a beautifully designed hallucination held together by math, nostalgia, and the assumption that people read. Let's start with Arrow's impossibility theorem. A charming piece of logic that basically says, if you want a fair collective decision, something that respects everyone's preferences, you're screwed. You either get chaos, distortions, or a disguised dictator. Yes, the theorem proves mathematically that democracy, if taken seriously, collapses into paradox. The more you try to include everyone's voice, the less rational the decision becomes. So imagine applying that to a country, or worse, the internet. But wait, there's more. Democracy assumes a citizen, not just a person with a ballot, but a creature of enlightenment. Informed, rational, engaged, skeptical, civic-minded. This creature doesn't exist. It's like the Ubermensch, or the smart friend everyone claims to have. Most people don't want to study policy. They want to scroll. They want to be entertained. They want short-form rage and validation on demand. And when they vote, they don't vote as informed agents of the Republic. They vote like consumers picking brands. Which is why we end up with presidents who speak like Facebook comments, and prime ministers who think diplomacy is a podcast interview. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The more free we are, the dumber the outcomes. Not because freedom is bad, but because freedom without responsibility turns into spectacle. We assumed that a liberated population would naturally evolve into thoughtful citizens. Instead, we got karaoke fascists, TikTok philosophers, and a global wave of elected idiots whose main talent is not being someone else. Still believe the powerful will do what's right, that they care about the people, that public service is about service. Please, we're still operating under the infantile assumption that power purifies, when in reality, power attracts those most comfortable abusing it. And how do people understand this world? They don't. They reduce it to linear equations. A cause is B, poor because lazy, rich because brilliant, war because evil. No systems thinking, no feedback loops, just moral cartoons and economic fairy tales. And now, enter technology. The new god, the new dictator, the invisible architecture of our beliefs. Social media doesn't inform, it distorts. Algorithms don't care about truth, they care about engagement. And in the end, the collective no longer votes, it reacts. Mob rule with an app, justice outsourced to hashtags, and truth now reduced to whatever goes viral first. So here we are, democracy hasn't died. It's just mutated into a feedback loop of bad information, bad decisions, and worse elected officials, all powered by the very people it was designed to empower. Subscribe if you're still with us, and remember, democracy isn't failing, it's just being retweeted to death by the people it tried to save.